Hey, hi. So there was a very silly mistake in R1 smart contract. So I'll explain you the what was the exact error when we are calling our create fund API. So let's go to the fund contract, right? So what was the issue when we're trying to create the fund? So you can see there are some helper function in my fund, right? So that's why I was getting this log, but when I'm going through this, I'm not getting this log in my chain code, right? So when I'm trying to do. So the problem is in this get function get timestamp. So get timestamp is not the default function. This I have wrote in my definition. So here definition I'm passing here context, and that context was missing earlier. I was not passing here. It was like this. So that's the reason it was asking there is no stub found, because stub will get from the context. So that's the major issue. So there were a lot of places where stub is missing. This context was missing. It was added properly in the user contract, right? User contract was added properly, but it was missing in my fund contract and token contract. So I have just searched get timestamp through my overall contract, and I have added everywhere because it's need a reference, and based on that they're gonna generate a timestamp. Okay, so that is the thing over here. Then user contract already sorted. Fund contract also everywhere I have added that, and I have deployed my chain code as well with the new changes. So you can see that I have deployed it with the version 3. You can see this version 3 I have added at sequence 3 and version 3, and it's up and running. We can check it in Docker. So it's got updated 22 minutes ago. Yeah, 22 minutes ago I have updated it with the sequence 3. You can see that sequence is 3, version 3. Now simple. Just let's go to our APIs. Now I tried to call my create fund and it got created properly. Amazing. I can see that, but let me create one more for you guys. So I'm now going to create a fund 2 with the initial setup. Instead of initial setup, I'll do now health work, social health work, we'll say. Okay. This social health work for poor. Let's grab that here. Let's keep that fund target as like this. Okay. Let's see. User ID is the same user ID. Fund ID I have updated already. Now let's go try it. Send it. That should work. It will take us some moment to create a fund. Yeah, it's working fine. Now it got added with fund ID too. Anyway, I'm passing it as string or integer. It is taking at integer only. So that's completely fine. Total tokens at the time of fund target, we have mentioned it, but let's see now how it will work with respect to the logic. Now, first step we achieved, we created the fund. Now what we need to do, let's go to the smart contract. Once we created fund, someone should need to donate on that fund, right? So when inside fund contract, I have a donate function here. Donate to fund org. So who can donate? So for donate, you can see user cert, fund ID, donor ID, token ID, and amount. So when we are calling donate, so donate will not going to call first. First it will, in the donation, it will create a token. So first it will issue the token. So it's like bank ID, fund ID manager, and then amount. Fund ID manager is nothing but our user ID manager, end user of that fund creator, the fund who created the who have created that fund is nothing but the fund manager ID. And then based on that, in return, we'll get token ID and all those things, right? That what we gonna pass in the first we have to issue token, transfer the token, and then we'll say, yeah, where is that fund? Then we'll say, yes, donation is completed. There where we're gonna generate the batch as well. So that is how, again, here's CID dot IPFS hash link is required. And now if you check README file, there we have wrote the logic properly. What should be my steps for donation? If now this is like little, you have to go little down. Smart contract, fund, token, create fund, now donate. Donate is like first issue call by anyone. Donor can call it. First it will happen. It will donate function. It's like, let's assume it will happen from the front end. Front end will give the a function over there to initiate the donate or donate it, right? With these details, we'll grab it the details. We'll go inside that. First, it will issue the token. Then that token ID will get transferred to the fund ID. And that particular fund ID will get tracked over here and token ID will get tracked over here, and that will call as the donate is complete, right? So now let's do that the same way. First, what we need to do, we need to issue token. So if you go to the token controller and let's say you'll ask issue token. So you need bank ID, fund ID manager, and amount. Okay. Now let's go back to the here. And this gonna happen from where? So we have to check a contract. For that, we're gonna check a token contract. Issue token is there. Inside my issue token, you can see bank ID, owner ID, and amount. So owner ID is nothing but the basically my first is donor ID. That's what we're gonna call it as owner ID. But inside issue token, it is taking it as fund manager ID directly. But that should come after transfer. So this is something we need to change. Issue token will happen from the fund manager ID. Sorry, this should be the donor ID. This must need to be a donor ID because initially the one who is issuing it is donor, right? And then we are transferring that to the invoke transfer token to token ID 2ID. So 2ID is my fund. Yeah, 2ID is the, again here I'll give the fund manager ID. Perfect. So first let's create a token. Then in return it will give me token ID. Correct. That's what we'll pass in the donation one. Perfect. So let me just now here see what we need. Who can call this? A bank user. Bank user can only call this with the org2. Okay. Now for better confirmation, go to your user controller and check your register bank part. When we register bank, so did we added role as bank user only? Here is my register bank. Yeah, register bank here. Yeah, while register bank we added as a user as bank user. Okay, perfect. Now we need to call issue token. So let's write a API for that. So what I will do now, I'll remove the unnecessary APIs which is not required. So to reduce our confusions, we have trusted create fund. Let's go to the bank. Let's do one thing. We need to write operation only. This will copy this and paste it over here. Yeah. Now I'll just rename it. So you can guys create the APIs from your side as well, whatever other logic you have required. So here I'm doing issue token. Issue token will create here and let's check a route. What is our route? So let's go to the controller route section. If you go to the token.route, so you can see it's a simple issue. So but before that we have to go to app.js to check what we are using before that. Yeah, tokens and then issue. So it's like instead of funds it will become tokens then issue. Okay, now let's check out the body. So if we go inside body of token routes, go to tokens route, then issue token, go to definition. They are asking user cert. These three they required: bank ID, amount, and donor ID. Grab this. Just put it over here. Just after user cert, what else they need? They need these things. Bank ID and again user cert. Which user? They need the credential of bank user, the one who has acting as a bank user. Okay. Donor ID is something that Akshay will use here, which is already we have created. An amount is like how much amount this donor want to donate. Let's say Akshay want to donate 20,000, and then will give the donor ID and bank ID. And this also we need to remove. So bank ID and user cert will be mostly same. So yeah, if you are not able to get any details, you can get it directly from get all. Bank is also there, R1 API. Let's try to use this to fetch banks. So we did this for Tom. Let's check this API as well. Send it. Yeah, we are getting the bank. So this is my bank ID. Let's grab it. Issue token. We got the bank ID and this is their user ID as well. And then we have donor ID. So get all donors also from here we can get. So I want to use this donor. Let's get donor ID for this and then pass it in issue token. Cool. Now let's try to call this API. No valid response from any peer undefined peer endorsement do not match. Now, what is this issue? Now look into it. Let's try to look into this issue as well. Where is my server running? No valid response from any peer error. Endorsement do not match. Why? Submit transaction exports dot issue token. Read writes results set do not match index 1. Discovery handler read said do not match index 1. There is some next level of issue. Guys, so yeah, This is the how we have to debug on each function when we are calling it. We have to be very cautious and very, with full of activeness. Otherwise, you will lose your patience and you'll say, "What is this, man? We are not going to code like this, right?" So we have to be a little patient while debugging stuff. So let's try to debug what. Yeah, dog is also giving us some help. Okay, okay. Let's try to debug it. So we have bank ID, owner ID, and amount, right? So issue token are these three they are asking. Owner ID. So what I'm passing here, I'm passing donor ID. This is my contract. So from issuer, what we are passing here, donor ID, bank ID, donor ID, amount. Okay. So instead of donor ID, what if we call it as I don't. This is not gonna make much difference because it's ultimately just a variable, right? We have to just have to pass it in a proper sequence. That's the ultimate thing we need to do. Then after that, it will come here. It will check the organization. Now here we are talking about org2 MSP. So yeah, it should be org2 only. Then are we missing any with like this? Issued token ID. Now let's try it out once more time. Let's me check the user ID as well. Is it there? Yeah, of course it is there. SBI Pune Mumbai. Now let's try to send it again. Bank ID, owner ID, amount. No valid response from any peer. Let's try to check our chain code log. Can we get anything over here? Check the 2-second one. There is no log. Fund created is the only last log we can see. Okay. So again, I got the issue. It was very stupid issue. I was aware about this issue, but by mistakenly, what happened here? Inside our token smart contract in issue token function, I'm using here date.now, right? Just I was trying to give the unique name or unique ID to my token key. Okay. But the challenge is when we have to look for chain code simulation, right? How our chain code simulations happens exactly. So chain code simulations, when I say simulation, it will try to simulate the transaction on each peer, and based on the response, if all the chain code, if all the containers of chain code is going to give same response peer, they'll this chain code will going to execute on peer. If peer gives same response, then only they'll accept it and then we'll get the return. But now what is happening when they are running, when this particular token will execute on their peer, so there will be some slight delays in the microseconds of each and every transaction, right? Because they will generate with respect to their simulation, because everything is not happening in a parallel, so there should be some slot very short time delays, or we can say something like that, right? So this type of things won't work here, like the functions like random or date.now or something which use randomically without undefined values or dynamic values, or getting dynamic response from APIs from somewhere else. Those type of simulation won't work in chain code. So remember that is something you need to do at the business level, business logic, like in your Node SDK. But at your chain code level, you have to give something which is remain same for all the peers remaining. Got it. So remember that thing. So it should remember same. So what is the solution for this? Simple solution. We have to remove this. Either don't use anything, keep it as simple value, or give some another variations or verifier. So we can give another verifier is like something like this. What we gonna do? We will call here, we'll create one cons transaction ID, ctx stub.get transaction ID, and that transaction ID we're gonna pass it over here. That's it. Yeah. We have to pass this transaction ID and we have to redeploy our chain code. So that's how it will going to work. So this is a one thing, and I tried to check through this same thing wherever else I'm working or using it. So I'm not using it anywhere else. So previously I used to take it for here, but I forgot that I have added it in my to make it unique key as well. So that is what we already resolved it in our helper function. Okay. Now let's very quickly, we need to go and deploy it. But now remember, instead of 3, I'll make it as 4, sequence 4, and then here it is 4. Okay, let me first clear this terminal. I hope you got not see my down last number of line. So here we have to change this 3. Wherever I'm passing 3, now I'm making it as 4. So I'm deploying this my smart contract for 4th time, and this is my upgrade command, right? I'm not redeploying it. So you can see that I have not created multiple containers. It is my main network is starting from 3 hours, but my container from 48 minutes. Now again, it gonna change it. Okay. Once are these changes will get applied over there, it gonna change stuff. In meantime, let's test out our other functions. Okay, what are the other functions we have? Let's assume we have issued the token, so we have to create then after that uh, transfer, right? Or we can call, yeah, transfer only we need. So just duplicate this. Let's see the logic of transfer token, how the transfer token logic is working. So we have here transfer token where we are asking again the same rules. Are we changing anything here? Unique ID stuff. We are creating any ID? No. Transfer is just simply updating your existing state, right? So what we are doing here, will going to get the amount and just will update their status as transferred and with the timestamp as transferred with the ownership to two ID. So two ID is nothing but here I have to give the fund manager ID or the user who has created the fund that will acting as a fund manager for me. Okay. So simply let's try to go to our controller. Let's see what are the variables we are using in invoke transaction. Let's query it. No, this is not the one. Controller is token. Controller is here. Issue. Now transfer token. Inside transfer token, we are passing token ID and 2ID. Go back to my here. Just change the name here. What happened, man? Transfer token, and here we need 2ID. We need 2ID is like the fund manager ID, and then here, sorry, token ID and then 2ID. Token ID we'll get it from when we're going to issue the token. At that time we're gonna use it. Okay. Now, so when we have transfer token, then we have to call a donate. Then we have to call donate function. So let's go to the donate as well. Fund controller where we are calling my donate. So in meantime, yet still it's deploying. So in meantime, we'll structured our APIs, we'll write our APIs. In donate functions, what we need fund ID, donate ID. I think that's what we already did. Let's go to that. Donate should be in my, who is going to do donate? Donate is doing for donor, right? So it should be there in my donor section. So let's copy this ID. We can copy any API. Just put it over here in the donor section. I don't know, the system is behaving so weird. Why it is not getting copied properly? Anyway, it is here only. Now it got here. So this is donate API, where inside donate we might need to call this as fund. And here donate. Again, we're gonna check that. Let's go to the fund controller. Here I can see donate, but we have to check routes as well. So inside route, where is a donate? Fund ID. Acha, based on it, donate to a fund is like we need a fund ID, and then based on fund ID, we're gonna call our donate. Okay. So here we have a get by fund ID as well. So based on fund ID, first we'll get the fund. Donor can get the funds as well, by the way. Right. So let's write a API over here to get the fund. This is working super slow. If we go to app.js funds, API/funds, then fund ID, and then donate. Fund ID, donate. Right? So here fund ID will come into the picture. So you can fetch your funds from NG also you can write that function, or in donor also you can write that function. So we're gonna write it over here. So let's grab this API. Let's put it over here. Funds. So what is a API to get all the funds? Simply funds by fund ID, or get all fund is simply funds. Yeah, based on this is like get all fund is the basic API which gonna call. So this is get all funds. Let's call this API. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see the body as well. We need to pass the body. So let's see now let's give the donor ID over here. So what is the donor ID? You can check, get any donors data or get all donors. So let's try to give get all donors API into that. So now let's try to use our donor ID over here. This donor ID we have to use in our get all funds body. We have to give raw JSON user cert as this. Okay. Now let's try to get the funds. Let's see if this is working fine or not. And let's check parallelly is our chain code. Yeah, chain code is deployment is done. That's good. Now we got the total fund created as well. Yes, we created two funds, right? Fund 1, fund 2. So now this is the flow how it will works. First user will see all the funds available in his dashboards. So based on that, So what it is gonna do, it will select the fund. They'll check the details. Yes, so Akshay is willing to support for this social health work for poors, and then they'll grab the fund ID. So this fund ID will, they're going to click on this particular item. So and then click on the donate. So right, so it's in backend only. They'll gonna get it get it in backend properly. So what was we are doing based on fund ID, issue tokens. For issuing token, we need bank ID, owner ID, and amount. Okay. Now let's try to issue token over here because our chain code is also get updated. Yep. Issue token is happen. Now you can see I got one object created of type token. So this is a token ID, the big one. This is my token ID. So I need this token ID and I need to transfer this token. I'll go to transfer function. I'll grab this token ID. This is happening from bank to ID is. So I'll go to the get all funds again. So who is the fund? Who is the fund ID manager? Can I see that creator ID? It is not showing here, but I should show. Yeah, it is. I think yeah, social health work group 123. It's NGO ID only, right? The one who created the. Let's go to the credential again. Check the wallet. If we check wallet, we have the NGOs related stuff is NGO MH27, and then this social health group. These two are my NGO. Yeah, correct. So these are my NGO users, right? So these are their ID only. So let me grab their ID. So transfer. I want to make them as a owner of this token, and then I'll send it to this cannot read property of undefined, again reading to string. The something got wrong here. Now let's check what is wrong. Now we have to go to the transfer token. Let's go to the transfer token controller. We have to go to the controller. We got some error in the controller. Let's check the server logs as well, what it is showing. Okay, the server log is showing only user this. So okay, token controller. Let's go to the token controller. It is showing transfer token we did, right? So we got error in two strings. So we are doing token ID and 2ID. Token ID and 2IDs. Then if we go to the transfer token, is this my smart contract? So here where I'm using two string. I think this is the issue. I'm getting here token bytes that are error cannot read property of undefined. So undefined in the sense token, but I'm trying to get by state token ID. Okay, so we have to pass token ID and to do ID. 2ID. So as a first parameter, what I passed here is token ID and 2ID transfer token. Okay. Now let's again it's need a SBI Pune. That is correct. This is my user. This is my bank. This is my token ID. This is my NGO user. Cannot read property of undefined reading to string. So it means we didn't got any data for this or what? It should work. Two string here only we are using. So there might be some issue with respect to this part somewhere. Let's take a closer look into it. User invoke, side invoke, we are passing token contract, transfer token ID to IT, and then let's check the ID again. If we go to the get all funds, no, issue token. That issue token ID, we got this only type token. Now let's try to in token controller there are only three functions. Hey, hi guys. So the transfer function, there was a very stupid error in the transfer function. Was like when I was calling it, it was issue token because we duplicated from issuance one, right? That's why it is going in issuer contract, and that's what that the error we got. But I just changed it to transfer and it's worked completely fine, right? So I was able to transfer the token. Okay. From now, once we did the transfer, so see, my donation is happening in three steps. First is issuance, second is transfer, and third is donate. So now I have my token ID and everything ready. So now I'm going to do donate. So if I go to the donate API, I can see user, bank ID, and donor ID, right? So now let's try to donate it. Let's cross check the data again in the controller, what they are asking for. If I go to the fund controller, create fund, donate, fund ID, donor ID, token ID, and then amount, right? So now let's go to the fund ID. That's what I'm saying. It's wrong. Donate mein gaya, like your fund ID will be here, donor ID will be here, donor ID, and then token ID will be here. We need token ID here, token ID, and then we need amount, right? Amount, yes. So amount we already added. How much? Donor ID set. Fund ID we need to get. We already have a API called get all funds, and then or for issue token also for what fund ID we got issued it. That will be for where we are tracking fund. So we did it for our second one, right? So this is my fund ID. So let me grab this. That's what I want to donate. And then let's go to donor. Now I'm doing this as a donor. So I'll give my user cert, which is Akshay. For here, what do you give in Akshay MK123? It's the user is going to invoke the chain code. Now token ID, most important. Now in transfer token also we have the token ID. So same token ID we're gonna grab from here and put it over here, right? So let's just put it over here. Postman is working so weird. Okay. Now let's try to call our donate. See, this such small mistakes. They have double slash. This type of mistakes takes a lot of time to debug. See that? Okay. Now running on local 1500. Yeah. So see the issue with the postman again. My endpoint itself is not updated. Is it? This is happening, man. Let me call it again. Donate. Okay. Now let me check my route. For donation, what was the route? Yeah. To donate, we need to pass fund ID inside the middle as a route, right? That was the issue. Yeah. You can see I have to pass donate. If you pass slash, it will take as a post, normal route only, right? So we have to pass fund ID. So what is this fund ID? Here is my fund ID. So that's what I gonna pass it over here. Now let's see. When we are donating, so again, for donation, we are generating a badge, and that badge we are assigning for our donor with respect to the amount, whatever they are donating. So that's it gonna take little time. Hopefully things should go in a good direction. Let's check the logs. Yeah, I think logs is good. We got the batch uploaded and here it's showing good. Still the invoke is done or not. Sure. Yep. Good. Thank God. We got the good logs. Everything is working fine. Amazing. We got the record got added in the donation. See, so this is the earlier record itself. We have not created new record in this process. This is my fund ID, right? Inside that fund, now one array in donation, we got this record updated, which is donor ID by Akshay. We can see the token ID. This is the token they donated, and then this is the batch. Now let's copy it and let's see the data inside that batch. Now this batch will get issued to will be get with the we can just simply just place over here the same thing, same tab. So yeah, IPFS will take time. Perfect. Now you can see I have donated $20,000. It is too much, but yeah, that's Akshay MK donor donate. Thank you for your donation and amazing, right? So this is all good stuff. Like end-to-end journey we covered. We created the fund, we onboarded the users, we issued the token, and they transferred and donated as well and get added over here. And there is a one more scope. Now let's go to the R routes. Now you can see if you see the routes, their expense is also there. You can close the funds. You can check the funds with that specific funds ID, and then you can check the donations as well with respect to that donor, how many donations we have did and all those things. So there are a lot more things, guys. So explore this code and try to add more APIs with respect to use case and try to reuse the smart contract for adding multiple functions with respect to use case and making this as a I would love to see this playlist product is coming in a real world use case. That would be so great if you guys can took someone this. I'll happy to help, happy to give you complete source code. Just show your interest or show your contribution eager, right? So we can collaborate and build this as a production ready. Again, very important thing. This node layer, there are three layers in this R playlist. First is network layer, second is chain code layer, and third is my node SDK layer. That is application layer. Again, everything is in backend only. We have not touched front end yet, and we are not going to do that in this specific playlist, right? So if you want to integrate front end, just get these routes API. Now we have this Postman collection. You can just export these and use these APIs in your front end to call all those stuff, right? Just you have to remember the hierarchy, how things going on, and all those stuff. All those things you have to manage. So I would officially end this playlist over here with respect to the backend work. But if I think, or if I got more requests to stretch this playlist, then I'll think to create more videos on top of this, right? But now, what is a key takeaway from this playlist you have to take? Writing smart contract with the multiple file, running stuff on the GCP instance and getting issues and how to solve it, how to upgrade the chain code. See, that is the most loved part of my is like previously I used to struggle a lot about this setup, but then we figured out how to upgrade the chain code. You don't need to deploy multiple chain codes at the same time. Just run the same command and there are your older container will get reflected with the new logic, latest logic. That's what we did and it was so helpful for us, right? And then again, Node SDK, how to write the Node SDK layers and connecting with your chain codes. And we have touched the IPFS, how to generate this create batch part. That's what we did here. And putting the your data on IPFS. This is you can also put this link in your browser and get this data, right? This is a completely hosted. This is something, this piece is already production grade. You can just tweak it little bit and use it as it is. So yeah. So what is production grade here and what not? Network layer is not a production grade. That is only for testing. Chain code is semi-production layer. Some security layers we need to add, but that is something, yeah, close to production. And Node.js layer is almost production layer. Just we have to add more again, security layer and then user session management and the database to store things in your off-chain data. This all whatever it is like on-chain data only. But to manage your off-chain data, that you need to set it up. But yeah, chain code is semi-production and our Node SDK is also semi-production. Work is not production and not recommended at all to use in a production one. For test network, basically, there is a different setup when you have to use in a production one. If you want to know about that, feel free to connect with me. I'll happy to help, happy to collaborate. See you in next playlist. Bye bye, guys.